Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 134. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm your host, Chris, as always, here in my studio full of faces staring at me. I'm also doing album reviews, and you're here to do them with me because that's what this whole thing is about, so thank you very much for hanging out with me today and doing that. And if you like what you see and or hear today, I'm here to remind you that you can do one of the things, a bunch of things I'm about to say, or all the things I'm about to say, to show your support for the show, and that is, of course, like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, and follow. 6 quick, free, and easy things that you can do literally right now or at any point in this episode to help show your support for the show. It means the world to me. More eyes and ears on the prize, so why not, right? More great people like you get to come and check out the podcast and have fun doing it. Why not, right? And you can find all the places to do those things over at ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. Streaming links, social media links, the RTR album chart is there for every single album that's been done on the podcast, and of course, the optional financial way to support the show, and that is the RTR Club. That, for $3 a month, will get you early access to episodes, shout out on social media, and one of the episodes closest to when you actually join the RTR Club. You can request an album for me to do here on the show. If you have a band who's got a song and you want me to do a review on it, I can do that, and then I'll make that into a big compilation video with other people who have done the same thing. Sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to do something like that, but by all means, if any of that sounds interesting to you, then you can check that out on the RTR Club, found at ratetherecord.ca. Alrighty then, so episode 134, we're jumping into an album I have wanted to do for quite a long time, and there's been this kind of like background joke for years on the show about hitting the, Mount Rushmore, if you will, of grunge music, and I think we finally, we're starting to get into cap-off territory with that now, because we're finally taking a look at Soundgarden and their 1994 album, Superunknown. Now, obviously, there's plenty of great Soundgarden albums that I could have chosen. This one, though, just kind of has a particular song that draws me in, so I was like, you know what, this is the one I'm gonna do, why not? So before we actually get into reviewing it, let me tell you a little bit more about it. Superunknown is the fourth full-length studio album by grunge and alternative metal band Soundgarden. It was released on March 8th, 1994, and was recorded at Studio X, formerly Bad Animals, in Seattle, Washington. The album was released through A&M Records and was produced by the band themselves, along with Michael Beinhorn, who has also done work for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Hole, The Violent Femmes, Korn, and many more. As of this album, the band consisted of Ben Shepherd on bass and backing vocals, Matt Cameron on drums and percussion, Kim Thale on lead guitar, and Chris Cornell on lead vocals and rhythm guitar. Initial reception of the album was mostly positive, with Q giving it a 5 out of 5, Rolling Stone giving it a 4 out of 5, and Entertainment Weekly gave it an A. Retrospective reviews have the album as perfect across nearly the entire board. The album was nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock Album, losing to the Rolling Stones' Voodoo Lounge. It appeared on many Best Album lists, ranking as high as number 3 on the Rolling Stones' Best Albums of 1994 list, and Loudwire's Best Hard Rock Albums of 1994 list. Appearing on 19 different charts, it appeared in many top 10s, including number 1 in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the US. The album has been certified 16 times platinum, 6 times in the US, 3 times in Canada and Australia, twice in Sweden, and once each in the UK and New Zealand. It was also certified 2 times gold in Italy and Netherlands. The album spawned 5 singles. Spoon Man, which had 5 top 10 placements and went number 1 in Australia and won a Grammy for Best Metal Performance. The Day I Tried to Live, which peaked as high as number 13 on the US mainstream rock charts. Black Hole Sun, which made it onto many best song lists and appeared on many charts consisting of 11 top 10 placements, including number 1 in the US, Iceland, Australia, plus a Grammy for Best Hard Rock Performance. My Wave, which peaked as high as number 11 on the US mainstream rock chart, and Fell on Black Days, with many chart placements as high as number 4 on the US mainstream rock charts. Well, there you go, just a little bit more about the album, just in case you didn't know already. But here it is on the screen next to me here, Superunknown. 15 tracks, it's a 70-minute album, it's a lot to get through, so I say we just go ahead and jump right into it with song number 1, Let Me Drown. There you go, song number 1, we're kicked off now, Let Me Drown. A very decent start to the album. I would definitely say that, especially with that guitar and drum groove through the verses. I think they have a fantastic pacing to them, and the intensity of the choruses are just like a really fantastic payoff too. And it's crazy to think that this song is just under 4 minutes. It's 3 minutes and 52 seconds, and it's the third shortest song on this album. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, before the review started, I should say this is a very long album, so buckle up. We have a long way to go, but I mean, we're on a decent start for this one at the very least, so that's good. And oh my god, could you imagine, like, Chris Cornell writing dark lyrics for a Soundgarden album? I mean, like, I don't know, I've never heard of that kind of thing happening, but apparently we're here now, right? But yeah, apparently the song, I'm not going to do lyrics for every single song, but some of them I will bring up. And this one, for example, apparently seen one of two different ways. It's either fans who believe it's about giving in to your darker urges, or you can go by what Chris said in an interview once, where the idea behind the song is crawling back in the womb to die. Wow, okay, what a story, Mark. All right, cool. Or Chris in this case, I guess. Wild, but it's one thing if it's like dark and depressing, but to crawl back into the womb. Okay, cool. That's neat. So now we're gonna move on to song number 2. I don't even know how to like transition out of that. But we're going to song number 2, My Wave. And as it just fades, I'll pause it right there. It's fine. Song number 2, My Wave. There's a lot of energy in this one, which is really nice. It kind of continues on that pretty well from what we are getting for the first track. But other than some riffage that we get in the chorus, there actually wasn't a lot about this one that really stuck to me. So there's not much like I really have to say that popped out about it. There are also some effects, I should say, like a little later on the bass that's kind of like a wah pedal or something, like a very kind of dirty, distorted wah pedal, something along the lines of that. It sounds like a snorting pig, but I thought there was really neat, a cool little texture to throw into the song, so it kind of gives you something a little neat. So I guess that is one of those things that did jump out to me and like made me notice a little more. But it feels like this one stretched on more than it probably should have. It becomes something of like a hypnotic mantra towards the end, where he's just chanting "Keep it off my wave" like over and over again, and it's like got like something of a psychedelic feeling to it. Which I guess it sounds nice if it's something that you just have on in the background, you just turn off your brain and get lost in it. Because other than that, like in the situation I'm in currently right now about having to like make notes for songs like this, it feels like it pushes pretty far. So I don't know. Maybe it's better in different contexts, but right here I just wasn't digging it as much. So with that, we can move on to song number 3, Fell on Black Days. Okay, song number 3, Fell on Black Days. It's nice to get something of a moodier, come down type of track following the last two, so I think it's really good placement where we have it here, especially with how many songs are on the album. It's still early enough to kind of give you an idea of the emotional highs and lows that you're going to get through this entire thing, so again, just well-constructed track list here. And there's some especially lower bass tones in this song too, especially in the chorus. It's just something about that tone is like just really tasty to me, for lack of a better term. But I mean, I guess it's just a very musician thing to say. I don't know, but it's just something I very much enjoyed. And the reason why I'm pointing it out is because it's so subtle that I don't think I've ever noticed it before. And I've heard the song many times, even in modern times now. I hear it on the radio quite often. But because I'm listening to it on the radio, certain tones and frequencies obviously aren't played properly through those speakers. So a lot's gone missing. So I don't think I've ever heard some of these lower bass tones until I've been able to listen to this album for this review. So it gave me more to appreciate and just like a lot of things that I'm missing out of this. So really cool to pick that up. And that's why I had to make a note about that for sure. And like the instrumental passages are fantastic in this song. I love Chris's vocal delivery. I think it's all fantastic. So it's a pretty decent track. And the lyrics too, as dark as they are, I mean, they definitely have like some relatability to them. Because I mean, listen, as someone who's dealt with and is dealing with mental health issues and everything like that, it's always comforting to see something like this written out through somebody else. It kind of makes you feel less alone in it. So, I mean, I do truly appreciate that. And I mean, I know that, Chris Cornell and Soundgarden as a whole aren't the only people to write stuff like this, but I don't know, it feels a little more honest in a song like this where it's just you wake up and you feel like absolute shit. Like you realize that you aren't happy. And I mean, it's something that happens often for many people. So it's just a very honest song confronting it. It's not necessarily trying to find the other positive side of it. It's just singing about that moment. And I get it. I've been there. So, I mean, definitely relatable. But with that, we can now move on to song number 4, Mailman. Well, shit. Song number 4, Mailman. Heavy, chunky, bluesy riffage going on in this one. It feels so grimy, but sounds really great doing so. So I'm a big fan of the tone of this song. I think it's fantastic. Just absolutely mucky, slow pacing to it, and I'm all here for it. And there's a lot I enjoy about this track, but that one note that Chris keeps hitting in the verses, and I'm not really big on music theory, so I don't really know how to describe it or like what chord it is. I believe it's like the root of the song is in C, but the note he's hitting is like an E. So maybe that's like an augmented chord, I think. I don't know. Again, my music theory is extremely limited. So I just kind of play things and hope it sounds good, But regardless, it's very pleasing to my ears, and every time I heard it, I was just like, yes, that's the chord we needed. That was the good one, so good job on that one. Very, very well thought out. And there's also a nice touch of a mellotron later in the song too, and I've always liked that worn out strings sound that it can produce. I know mellotrons can technically do a lot of different things, but when people think of a mellotron, it's usually that like old tapey, worn out string sound, which I actually really like. It's always been a weird and unsettling thing to hear, and I've just always been down for it. So it was nice to hear that pop up at least once in this album. Because I did read the album credits and saw that the Mellotron was in here somewhere, so I was like, ooh, I wonder where it is, and I wonder how often it is. I don't think it goes beyond this, but it's fine. It had its little moment there, and I enjoyed it. And lyrically, too. So how about a song about offing your boss, huh? Jesus. Very dark. Like, listen, apparently that's what the song is about. And I'm fortunate enough to say that I'm not currently in that situation where I would have a fantasy like that, but who's to say that we haven't all had that fantasy at least once or twice in our lives, we've all had those shitty bosses that we just didn't appreciate, So that this song kind of just plays on that fantasy a whole lot, so enjoy if you truly hate your job. How about that much? I like this song because of just, again, how bluesy and sludgy it all felt. I really, really dug it. I love the tone of it. Fantastic stuff. So now we're going to move on to song number 5, the title track itself, Superunknown. Okay, bleeds into the next song, so I gotta pause it there. Song number 5, the title track itself, Superunknown. This one's just a good, loud, quick-paced track. A lot of fun to have this one on. Definitely far more full and stretched out production in this one too, just because of like how loud, especially the guitars, come off. Other songs on this album I find have space that could be filled. Not that it needs to be, but there are portions of different songs where it feels like a little more empty in certain spots. Which is fine though, because I mean the production is pretty solid all across this album. But in this one, it completely fills like both ears here. So I mean, it feels like a lot more stadium produced, which I think is pretty neat, especially because you're doing that for the title track of the entire album. So you need it to be like not necessarily catchy, but it needs to catch on at the very least. It does feel like an exciting track, but I feel like this still lacks some of the substance that made other tracks on this album feel more intriguing. There's just because there's other elements of other songs that just like, oh, that was kind of cool. Well, that was kind of neat, but like this one's like a very straightforward, just fast rock kind of track, which is fine. Like, because despite all like what I just said there, like I'm still on the side of liking this song for sure. A lot of intensity in this one, as I mentioned, like the guitars are really loud and the vocals are like super ferocious. It's solid. It's good. It's actually a pretty good track. I will say that much. It's a good title track too. You always need the title track to be like excellent despite any other song on the album, because that's the one that's supposed to sell the album aside from the singles, obviously. So yeah, good job on that one. But now we'll move on to song number 6, Head Down. A lot of extra drum work in the end there. Song number 6, Head Down. I really enjoy like the whole vibe and style of this entire song. It has a great mix of like acoustic and heavier bluesier instrumental layers, and they kind of just they meld really well together with the softer style of vocal we're getting to. So it's just everything about this is like really audibly pleasing to me. I really enjoy what it's doing. And there's like a gorgeous instrumental bridge in the middle too. A nice like a little acoustic jam with this single layer electric guitar solo that just really works and plays well off of one another. So just a lot of really good compositional choices going on in this track, and really digging the lyrics in this one too. They essentially just read as like, you know, being told what to do and conforming, so to speak. But I feel like the idea behind the lyrics is to do the opposite of that. You know, they say that, so do this instead. So yeah, I appreciate the little bit of rebellion we got going on in here. Not, I mean, again, not like it's the only song Soundgarden has ever written that has this kind of theme to it, but I'm just talking about this right here, right now. I really dig it. I enjoy it all around. Sounds good. It's written well. We're on a streak so far. Speaking of being on a streak, I don't know if I could say anything bad about the next song, and I mean, 816 million streams can't be wrong, right? Song number 7, the one you all know, Black Hole Sun. Yeah, that was the one, wasn't it? Actually, it wasn't the one, it was the number 7. That was Black Hole Sun. Of course, everybody knows that. Everyone loves that song. They should. It has a rightful place in rock history at this point as being one of the best, period. It's a pretty iconic track straight from the opening riffs. The verses feel super whimsical, just like enough to lead you in and wonder what you're getting yourself into. Then you have that very beautiful and powerful chorus kicking in. And I mean, it's like sends chills every single time just because that chord progression leading into it too. And then the vocal style of it and everything, just everything works so well. And if the song somehow hasn't proven itself to you by the time it hits the chorus, then I honestly don't think the song ever will. But I haven't met a person yet that has not been like blown away by this particular song. So it again holds its place in history for a reason. It's such a slow pace to the song, I should say. But you're kind of hanging on every single moment of it because like it's scenic in its own right. And it feels more than needed to see you through to the end. So just like, I don't know, there's a lot of mental imagery that can pop up for this one. And I'm pretty sure you've probably seen the music video that already has a lot of messed up imagery in it as it is. But that's kind of what you're imagining this one. It's just so dreamy the entire way through. So just, I like how you can play with your imagination a lot when it comes to a song like this. And I guess like speaking lyrically on the song too, it's just funny to find out that this song realistically doesn't mean anything. Like lyrically, it doesn't. Even Cornell has stated in interviews that I found that like he was more or less just playing and painting with words rather than trying to push out anything with any literal meaning behind it. But I guess like any song on that note, that if you pull something out of it yourself and you want it to mean something, then by all means you could do that. You can interpolate these words any way that you feel comfortable doing. If you want to do that at all, you don't even have to do that. Like, I mean, for example, if you think that the song I Am the Walrus by the Beatles is a statement about the crushing effects of capitalism or something like that, then sure, you know what? That's the message you pulled from it. It's completely nonsensical, but if that's what you want to take from it, then by all means take it. So I'd be curious to know what some people's opinions are about what they think this song is about. But again, straight from the guy's mouth himself, it's not really about anything. It was just playing with words and having fun with it. So I respect that too. Just see where it takes you, and obviously it led to an incredible place in music history. There you go. So now, song number 8, we move along to Spoon Man. He said it. That was song number 8, Spoon Man. A lot of thunderous tones in this one, so it's very kind of exciting to me personally when we kind of get stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of that being brought up by the constant moving bass line, just the flowing of the consistent tom drums. I mean, it definitely gave the song a far more exciting start. And not only that, but like those tones continue a lot through the song as well. They pop up at various points, and so it's just a lot of fun. There's even a point that has like distorted bass towards the middle that I was also very fond of. So once again, you've been on the podcast before, you know what's up. I'm a whore for distorted bass, and that has a great tone, so of course I'm going to give it a thumbs up on screen, not behind the Spotify thing here, so now you can actually see it. There you go, that's what I'm trying to do. And that chorus has a fantastic guitar run, too. I love the riff in the chorus. It's always been a lot of fun. Like the hammer on down to that descending melody. I think it does a lot for that section, and it really kind of helps you never take your attention off of it. It's just so fun, and you're just kind of being part of it, bouncing around, everything like that. It's fun. It's just, again, a really well thought out riff. And about the song, if somehow you weren't aware, this song was inspired by a real Spoon Man, artist The Spoon Man. I believe his name is pronounced Artis. It's Artis, so I'm assuming. But yeah, he is a man who is a street performer. He was apparently a sailor in the US Navy in the late 60s. He found his way into the Seattle underground music scene, which is like partially how he was discovered by Soundgarden, although apparently Chris Cornell has also just seen him performing on the streets, doing his routine. And apparently he relates a lot to this guy and just kind of being like an outsider type deal. So that's probably why he felt so compelled to have him on the album. And so then, yes, artist went on to collaborate with Soundgarden for this song. And also, I didn't know Frank Zappa in 1981. That's pretty cool. I'm going to have to go back and do my homework on that one because I'd like to see where artists came in for that specifically. And yes, he obviously does play spoons on this track. There's a huge, long spoon solo about 3/4 of the way through the song. And there's even a behind-the-scenes video of him on YouTube, if you go search it up, of him actually recording his part. And he looks like he's having a blast. He's moving around all over the place and just flailing body movements. It's crazy. And I think it's awesome to watch. It's fantastic stuff. But the song itself, great song, obviously. Great single to have on the album, so by all means, I can't really say much bad about it. I do enjoy it. We're moving on now to song number 9, Limo Wreck. And as it just fades out for a little while, I guess I'll leave it there. Song number 9, Limo Wreck. Okay, so first off, can we just go ahead and talk about that really weird time signature that this song happens to carry? I wasn't counting for the entire song, but like especially towards the beginning. 15/8, I believe, is the time signature. Someone can correct me if there's like a different patterning going on there, but I believe it's 15/8. Like, excuse me, sirs? What the hell do you mean 15/8? But you know what, though? It flows really, really nicely, though. I will say that. It feels so smooth that you don't really think twice about it. But I had been reading that there's a weird time signature in the song, so I was looking for it. It wasn't that hard to find. I was like, wow, holy shit. Sitting there trying to count it out and everything like that. And weird time signatures aren't really new or anything for Soundgarden. They're not uncommon, I should say. I believe it was an interview with Kim Thale who said that when they were writing songs, time signatures were never considered. They would just have like riffs that they would play with and they'd just do things with that sounded good, but they weren't necessarily counting it out. So that's why you get a lot of songs that are like in 7/4 and 6/4 and 7/8 and 15/8, for example. You're not necessarily counting, you're just writing something that feels good and you play with it until it becomes a song. I've done that personally too with my own music. Like I won't even be counting and then suddenly out of nowhere I wrote a song in 7/4 without realizing it. So I get it. I understand where that comes from. As for this song though, it's a moody track for the most part, which is fine. I like this kind of stuff. Very slow pace with not as heavy instrumental passages, but still pretty menacing passages. So there's still a lot you can pull from it. And I'm really digging the messaging and the lyrics in this one too. I mean, just this whole idea that, the rich and powerful aren't as strong and mighty as they might think they are. And listen, maybe it just tickles me a little more that listening to the song in 2025 and understanding where we are in the world right now. But I'm not going to talk politics. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to leave that opinion right there and we can move on to the next song now because I know it's just going to cause a fucking shitstorm. But we're going to listen to now song number 10, The Day I Tried to Live. Hot damn. Song number 10, The Day I Tried to Live. Phenomenal track through and through. Can't say enough good things about it, even if I tried. I could say like infinite amount of words about how much I love this song, and it probably still wouldn't be enough. There is perfect building and payoff almost at every single point in this entire track. And then plus you have that added feature of it cycling through 7/4 and 4/4 time. Again, if I'm getting my metering wrong, just you can let me know because musical theory is not my biggest point. But it keeps the song so consistently fun and interesting. Like I'm always drawn back to want to listen to this one over and over again just because of how different and just fun it all feels overall. And everything about the song is fantastic. I really love the call and answer style of vocals in the chorus too. It makes it insanely catchy. So like you just have even more bonus points going on top of you for that one right there. And I guess speaking of the vocals too, like lyrically, the song is actually apparently often mistaken as being something of a suicide note. But Chris has said in interviews that it more or less revolves around the idea of actually wanting to like, do your best. And you wake up, you want to do your best, you want to fit in, you want to try to be happy, you want to try to do all that stuff that people expect you to do. But then you just kind of like ultimately end up failing at it. It doesn't really go your way. But then it's the idea of like, I'll try it. Fuck it. I'm going to try it again tomorrow. Maybe it'll work tomorrow. Who knows? So it didn't work today. Maybe it'll work tomorrow. We'll see. So it's kind of like a good call and answer to Fell in Black days where like some days you feel that fight and you wake up and you want to at least try. But then other days you wake up and you feel like complete shit and you say, nah, never mind. I'm going to stay in bed today. Well, this is the yin to the yang type deal. I think this is the more positive outlook on that whole scenario. So lyrically, it works. And it's also things I've done myself too, just like Fell on Black Days. So I can definitely appreciate the lyrics of this one as well. Well, that was a whole bunch of praise for that one. So now we can move on to the next track, song number 11, Kickstand. Cool. Song number 11, Kickstand. It's a very, very short song, so I don't have tons to say about it. It's 1 minute and 34 seconds. It's a short, punchy hard rock tune, a lot of fun. And also, I believe it's one of the only songs on this album that was completely written by Kim Thale. I believe I read that correctly. So, like, this is mostly his engine, if you want to call it that, I guess, even though we're talking about kickstands and bikes here. But anyways, well, not necessarily. I'll get to the lyrics in a second. Great energy in this one. As I said, it's a fun track to get caught up in for a very short amount of time. It has that like kind of like hard rock, but has also the kind of like that punky type of energy to it. So that's something to catch on to. Apparently this song lyrically is either about sex, drugs, and or rock and roll. There's no definitive evidence of this. I couldn't find anything, just like a lot of people saying, oh, it's definitely about this. No, it's definitely about this. But I'm willing to believe it no matter which way. Like, it's probably some form of addiction all around. That's what I'm getting from the lyrics. So I would imagine that none of those people are too far off. And again, what I said about Black Hole Sun, however you want to interpret the lyrics, that's how you're going to interpret them. So if you think it's about alcohol addiction, that's what it is. If you think it's about drugs, that's what it is. If you think it's about like just being way too horny, wanting to fuck all the time, that's what it is. Whatever you want it to be, whatever makes sense to you, that's what the song is about. There you go. So now we'll move on to song number 12, Fresh Tendrils. Cool. Song number 12, Fresh Tendrils. Right off the top of this one, a certain sound or like texture popped out to me. Like again, almost immediately. Even though it's quieter in the mix, and it's the use of the clavinet, which I think is a really cool sound to have kind of like more muffled in the mix like it is here. And if you don't know what a clavinet is, think Superstition by Stevie Wonder, for example. Like the main instrument of that song is the clavinet. So that's the sound I'm definitely hearing in the background here. But it's pretty cool to have that like little extra bit of flavor in this track. And also worth noting too, especially because I just did Songs for the Deaf not that long ago, that it was performed by Natasha Schneider, who also did keyboards for Queens of the Stone Age, and specifically on that album as well. So nice little tie-in that we're kind of getting here through the 90s West Coast music scene here. So I know she had her hands like in a lot of different projects, so this was definitely one of them. I wasn't even aware of that, so it was a nice little thing to be able to learn going into this. Great pacing to this track overall. It's slower, but it still has like a lot of good flowing power behind it, so definitely a lot to enjoy about it. And this absolutely works as a song that's 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Some songs on this album tend to stretch a bit, some for better or for worse, but this one is like the perfect length for what it needs to do. It's not stretching itself out. It's not leaving too much out. I think this song is like perfectly built, so I really enjoy it. It's a solid track. I actually ended up liking this one a lot more than I thought I would. Because to be 100% honest, I have not heard this entire album before. There's like a number of songs on here that I hadn't heard, Fresh Tendrils being one of them. So it was nice to be able to hear that and be like, wow, this is one of those hidden gems that I should have probably been aware of some time ago. So it's in my brain now, so that's the important part. Also in my brain is the next song, song number 13, 4th of July. Pause right there as it starts to fade out a bit. Song number 13, 4th of July. Super low, muddy, sludgy tones. And tuning for this one as well. Like the tuning is way the hell down. We're talking like chunky, heavy, like sludge or doom metal style of tones here. So it's kind of interesting to get this very, very low point tonally. And I don't mean low point as in it's bad. I just mean like this is like the most drop tuning I think we've heard on this entire album. Definitely one of the lower ones I can remember for Soundgarden for sure. I could be wrong about that, but just in my own memory, that's how I remember it. The constant run of like dual harmonies with the vocals though was probably the smarter choice to do. Gives a little more texture to the sound, and it like fills things out a little better. Maybe it would have felt a little more bare bones if the higher, quieter part wasn't constantly behind them. But so good choice with that. I don't know, maybe they went back and did that later because they thought it sounded better. I definitely dig it though. Something about this track feels like a little more of a demo, though. Like, just something about it just... I don't want to say it puts me off, but it definitely gives me that idea. Aside from, like, the higher toned guitar solo that we occasionally get in the song has this, like, you know, such consistent low, chuggy tone to it and a very forward kick and snare that it kind of feels like a demo being worked on by a young band in a basement. And I believe part of this album was recorded in a basement, so maybe there's some real shit going on there, you know? But I will say that even with that said, it's not a bad track. I really dig this one. It just kind of sounds like a basement demo type deal. Because it just feels more subdued than other tracks do. aside from its insanely crunchy lower tones, or not crunchy, but muddy lower tones. It's good though. It's very menacing. So I dig the doom metal style of it, you know? All right. So we're going to move on to song number 14. It's another quite short song too. It's called Half. Yeah, that was it, eh? 2 minutes and 14 seconds for song number 14. Half. Half the length of the average song on this album, I guess. Or something along the lines of that. Haha, funny joke. I don't really have a lot to say about this one because there's not a lot to pull from it. It's a very oddly experimental track. The acoustic styles of instrumentals pretty cool. I really enjoy it. The vocals weren't necessarily doing anything for me. And it's very possible that they just weren't taking the song that seriously at all. I don't know, but like, I don't know. The vocals just felt weird to me. That's all. It's short. There's not a lot of substance to it. It's something of like a folky, psychedelic attempt with this particular track. It could have just been like a random thing that they decided to throw in at the last second. That's fine too, but I don't know. It's definitely not one I'd want to go back to. So with that said, we will move on to the final song on this album, song number 15, Like Suicide. Damn. Decent ending to that one, too. Song number 15, Like Suicide. It is so good that this show is not monetized because of the amount of times I've said suicide now. YouTube is probably throwing an absolute, like, apeshit conniption back behind the scenes or whatever. But don't worry, I'm not making money off this, so guess what? Not gonna lose ad dollars. It's fine. As for this song, though, there's a cool menacing start to this song. I really like it. That super low and clean bass tone, and then the acoustic style of the percussion, everything like that, make the song feel a lot more intimate. So I really kind of like that. It feels like just a circle of people playing this song rather than being done in a big studio or anything like that. And I guess like having that more kind of like intimate feeling, I guess, to put it in that term, because I don't know what else to say about it. It's fitting considering the theme of the lyrics themselves, and the story behind it too is also pretty wild. Again, it's one of those songs where people listen to it and think it's about a mother committing suicide, which not too far off the ball, but far enough that the real story is apparently the instrumentals for the song were done and he was working on them in the studio, and he kind of had some lyrics flushed out, and he went upstairs from the studio to like a kitchen or something like that, and Chris Cornell saw a female robin fly into a window and it broke its neck. Apparently the bird was still alive and it was suffering. It couldn't really do anything. It had a broken neck. It couldn't move. Cornell didn't know what to do. And he felt guilty about leaving it there, and he didn't want it to suffer. So he decided to end its suffering because there's nothing that could have been done. Apparently he crushed it with a brick. Very instantaneous death. It must suck to have to do that. Very dark, but apparently this whole instance led him to writing this song. Like as soon as he did it, he was kind of sitting there thinking about it. He's like, well, I mean, if I'm going to work it out somehow, I'm going to work it out in my lyrics. And so that's where this song apparently comes from. And God, I had to do something like that when I was a kid once too. Like there was a mouse that was like absolutely tortured by a cat, and the cat just said, oh, fuck it, I'm done. Just leaves. Mouse is sitting there, can't move. It's like struggling to breathe, and it's just there suffering. And I felt terrible. And the only thing that was around, I was like, I gotta kill it. Like I'd would rather not have it suffer. And I had a cinder block near me, and that's nervous laughter right there, because I don't enjoy having done that, and I don't like thinking about it, but I feel better knowing that it didn't have to suffer to die. I made it very instantaneous. So at the very least, I can feel positive about that. And so I guess maybe that's how he felt about it too, when he had to do that to the bird, right? So yikes. Aside from those dark imageries right there that I just kind of shared with you, I mean, let's talk a little bit more about the song, I guess. There's a pickup a little later in the song that kind of grows into this like a bit of a noisier solo section, which I think sounds fantastic. It was a really good addition to the song. And then there's that last little noisy bit of a fade out towards the end. And I think it was a really smart way to end it. Like it got noisy and then kind of quieter and faded out nicely. It's not only a good end to the song, but it's a great way to cap the album as well. So again, just really well thought out track listing here, and just composition altogether. Everything is fantastic. What can I say? I won't say much else about the song because we are indeed done reviewing the songs on Soundgarden's Superunknown. So hey, we made it to the end. Thank you very much for making it this far through, but we're not done just yet because now we got to rank the songs and we got to rate the record. We got to do all that kind of stuff. So Spotify will now disappear off the screen. And next to me here on the video screen, the numbers have just appeared, 1 through 15. It's time to rank the songs. Of course we do. That's what we always have to do at this point. The least favorite to favorite, not so great to great, worst to best. No matter how you want to cut that cake, you got a job to do, and that job is cutting cake, I think. Because at the very least, I have to give you the my rankings for the songs. You can do that too. I'm looking forward to seeing yours as well. But here are mine in the meantime, okay? So number 15, Half. 14, My Wave. 13, Fell on Black Days. 12, Kickstand. 11, 4th of July. 10, Superunknown. 9, Let Me Drown. 8, Mailman. 7, Limo Wreck. 6, Spoonman. 5, Head Down. 4, Fresh Tendrils. 3, Like Suicide. 2, this is probably going to be blasphemous to a few people, Black Hole Sun, because my number one personally is The Day I Tried to Live. Listen, Black Hole Sun and The Day I Tried to Live are perfect songs. Like, I couldn't nitpick them if I tried. I mean, like, if I sat there for hours, I probably could find something, but you would have to dig so goddamn deep to get it. They're both perfect songs and they both do it differently. I personally just like the way that The Day I Tried to Live did it just slightly better in my ears, but they're both perfect songs. Like, I had to put one over the other for this particular list, but in real life, they're just like even ground. Like, they're fantastic in their own ways. But yes, The Day I Tried to Live is indeed my number one song for sure. Would love to see your list on it too. So make sure you're sharing that down in the comments or wherever the hell you happen to be listening, because I'm very curious to know. While you're doing that, it's time to rate the record. So these got to go away. And then the words come in. There you go. Everything looks wonderful now. It's time to rate the record. The title of the podcast itself is The Action I Have to Perform Now. So what did I think about this album? Well, I mean, you saw the scores and you heard me like rain praise all over a lot of these songs. Obviously, it had its high points, its low points. But the good news is we have an A-tier album on our hand, A- to be specific, at an 81.33%. I actually thought it was going to go higher, but then, like something like Half, for example, brought the album down a little bit for me. But there is no complaints here. It's still an A-tier album. It's still really, really fucking good. We're talking about a 4 out of 5 star album. Its high points were very, very high. So I was very happy to be able to go through and listen to these. And The Day I Tried to Live, I forgot how much I liked that song until I started listening to it again for the album. I was like, holy shit, like that is just, what a song. What an absolutely fantastic track. But with that, the words have disappeared now, and it's just me on screen. And this is where I can thank you for joining me for this album review. And let me know down in the comments below if you did indeed listen to this album. No matter where you're listening, because there's comment sections everywhere. What did you think about this album? Did you love this album? Did you hate it? How would you rank the songs? How would you rate the record? Do you agree or disagree with me? What are your opinions on Soundgarden all together? I'm curious to hear all these things and more, so please let me know down in the comments below, because I don't want to just do this alone. Your opinion matters too. I've just spent the last, 40 minutes or so, however long this video ends up being. I spouted mine, now I want to hear yours. And of course, you can find all the places to do those things over at ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. The streaming links, the social media links, the album rating chart, which you'll now see this album on there, and of course the RTR Club if you want to financially support the show, all found at ratetherecord.ca. And that is it for this very long album. This episode is now over, so one more time, thank you very much for joining me. And so until I see you again, go listen to even more awesome music, and shouldn't be too much longer before we meet again. So take care, friendlies.